Hi, my name is Lily, and in this session, I'm going to walk you through routing diagnostics. At this point, you would know about the architecture of unified routing. It is quite modular. It lets you divide your routing setup into stages and then optimize each stage individually. The classification stage lets you create rules that use customer data to add insights to the incoming work items. These insights are then used in the assignment stage to prioritize and assign work items to the best suited agents or queues for resolution. For every incoming work item, rules within each of these applicable stages are then processed so the work item is routed to the best agent. Now, in the back, for each of these rules, diagnostics are generated, and you can view those diagnostics on each item. You could look at how an item was classified, how it was routed to a certain queue, and how it was prioritized and ultimately assigned. Whenever there is a problem with this routing setup, you could use diagnostics to get insights into what might be wrong. You can see why certain work items are taking longer to assign, and you can also see why an item could not be correctly assigned. Now let's take a look at how you would access and view diagnostics. I am creating and routing this new case here. Now, according to our rules, I'm expecting it to be routed to a CCD record workstream and ultimately get assigned to Eugene Spleeman, who belongs to the CCD entity queue. I will confirm that I indeed want to route this case. And now, to access that routing, if I am a customer service manager, I will open Customer Service Hub, navigate to Service Management, and within that, navigate to Diagnostics under Unified Routing. A prerequisite to view diagnostics is that you should have this toggle enabled. At the moment, it is enabled, and that's why I am seeing all of these entries here. The work item that I've just created is in the process of getting routed. So you can see the routing status of this item. It is currently in the intake rules stage, which is completed. So now it's moving to the next stage, the classification stage. It will tell me what time the routing started, how long has it been, and what work stream it is going to, what queue it is going to, and who will be the assigned agent. It is currently saying that it is being routed to queues, or rather that stage is completed, and that's why we see this queue populate here, and then it is waiting for agent assignment. So let's say if we refresh this now, it did go to Eugene Spleeman. Now before I click into this record to see the actual diagnostics, I would also want to show you what are the other ways in which one could access this data. So going back to this work item, um, this was the case. And if I quickly want to see the diagnostics for this particular case without actually going to the entire grid of diagnostics that we just saw in CSH, you can go to the related option here, and underneath that, you can go to routing diagnostics. That particular work item's diagnostics are filtered out and showed here. So it is that same view just for this particular work item. One other way to view is through the OC app. So from the OC app, you will get access to the entire diagnostics grid. If you click on this plus sign here and come to routing diagnostics, that grid that we saw opens up here. And so you will be able to see all of the work items here too. So these are the various ways in which, depending on the persona, depending on the app that is being used, you can access diagnostics. Now let's take a look at the actual diagnostics trace for the case that we had previously created. The top line summary gives us the status of the work item. It tells us how long did it take for the routing to get completed. Underneath that, you will see the various stages into which you have set up your routing setup. You can see how long it took per stage, and then you can actually drill down and see what were the rules that were applied. So in this case, this is the intake rules. Intake rules work in such a way that if the first one itself or the second one is applied, and the first one isn't applied, the next ones are not even processed. And so that's how this case was routed to the CCD record work stream based on our condition that if the case origin is set to Thailand, UK, USA, or if origin is from an email, then we want to send it to this work stream. And if you remember, when I created my case, I had set the origin to USA division, and that's why it went to this particular work stream. Next, you can take a look at the different rule sets that we have for the classification stage. You can see what the outputs of those were. You can click on any of these to see what happened. So let's say if you wanted to set a priority for this case, in this case, it says that we process the rules, but none of them are applicable, and that's why none of them there has been no match, and none of them are in the applied state. Please check the conditions or manually set the output for work item. So these are pointers that you can use to understand your routing setup, make tweaks, and see how your setup is performing. You can go to route to queue where you will see which all were the rules that were matching, and ultimately which were the ones that got applied, and then within that which was the rule uh, uh, that kind of helped you identify what the final queue was, which is what we are calling here up top. We are saying that it was ultimately routed to the entity support queue, and in that way you can take a look at rest of the stages and the rules within, and understand the start to end flow of your work item. So this trace of rules that were applied or could have been applied gives you a better understanding, gives you the details of the org's routing setup, and from there you could glean how you could make this setup better, how you could optimize it. That is all I have for you. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to the product group. Thank you.